Hey guys, this is Stefan. First of all, I'm very sorry for the confusion in the last video and also this time in full HD. We have some really great news, especially for Windows user, because Infinite Goethe is now available for Windows 10 and Windows 11, and obviously for the Apple Silicon platform. So, and we have it's a new version, so there is an update also for the Apple users. And I want to show you what Infinite Goethe is, what it isn't, and why it's sometimes so confusing to understand what it's actually doing. And yeah, so let's just jump in and open an image. I want to start with this little cosplay here. So this is a Lara Croft cosplay, and it seems like a very clear complementary color scheme. We have a lot of orange and we have a little bit of cyan. So this is the classic orange and teal color look. Why is Infinite Goethe choosing to colorize the shirt here into yellow? Well, that's because this is the least amount of change that the tool has to do. So this is the closest match. Let's go to a complementary scheme for a second and just rotate it so it fits that scheme like this. As you can see, we would need to change a lot of the background. So this is a lot of that area that needs to be changed. And so that's for the tool is too much. I'm going to switch back to the auto mode. And now I'm going to show you a new feature, and that is the saturation button. This is in the middle of the RYB wheel here. I think I mentioned it that Johann Wolfgang von Goethe did put some weight on each color and on the color composition. So if you are in a complementary color scheme, the primary color needs to have like 80% of the weight, and the weight is actually made by area and by saturation. So if I switch on that saturation button, you will see that it takes into account the area and adjusts the saturation here. And now if I switch to the complementary, you can see that the things are quite different. So it's like this. For me personal, I would go with a accented analog scheme in this case, because I think this is the one that fits the image the most. So we still have the skin tones, we have the cyan shirt, we have kind of that vibe of orange and teal, and actually the model stands out quite a lot. And all these color weights, the saturation and the area, is here in that flow diagram, so you can actually see what's going on. So this is the first thing. We have that saturation button, and you can play around with it, and it will still work the same as before. So you can adjust all the colors, you can rotate the wheel, and you can find your own color harmony scheme based on Goethe's theory. It's always based on Goethe's theory. So, and the second one is in the file menu. We've got open in RYB web, and RYB web is on infinitetools.com/RYB, and this is basically we've had this before. It was the color scheme designer, and it was really powerful thing to find color schemes, but it lacked a little bit on correctness in weight, and you couldn't see the weight. In this version that we've built, you can see actually the weight of each color, and each color has a saturation slider. So if I, for example, take the accent A and make it more saturated, it will take less space because it's less saturated. So each color has its own saturation, and you can just adjust this. And if I go into, let's say, complementary second and open the RYB web, the weight and the scheme and everything that I've set up in the tool is shown here on this website. And obviously you can change stuff. You can always go into this and say, well, I actually want to have it like this, and I want to have strong skin tones, and the shirt should be like this. Maybe even more saturated because it's a large area. So this is the color scheme I'm looking for. Then you can go to export, and you have different options. For example, landscape. In the landscape, you can just create an image with all these colors and with the weight of each color. But you can also click on Infinite Goethe here in the bottom. Then the settings are copied. And now if I go back to my Infinite Goethe, to my image, and click Command V or Control V to paste it in, it will actually apply this color scheme that I've set up on the website and put it on that image. It's pretty cool. So let's go in and find another image. Second example. I actually like this gray background here. I'm just saying, I really love it. So in this shot here, this is on the left side, is the before shot. We've aimed for like an outdoor sun midday shoot, and with the cloud in the background, orange and teal obviously, and that's what we aimed for. But if I turn on the saturation, you can see that we actually made a lot of stuff wrong because the background has a lot of area, so it needs to have less saturation. And if I have a look at this, this actually makes the model even more separated from the background than this one. So I actually like it a lot. So this is the saturation button. And you can see that we have 37% of the area is that green, and 60% is that orange tone. Then we have some news on the export. The export here, we have the PSD masks and we have PSD difference. Let's just show what this does. And for this example, I'm going to open the image directly from Photoshop. So let's actually show it in a different way, because I need to load this one. And now I go to Photoshop, and if I click on Photoshop, it will actually load that image that is open in Photoshop right now. So here you can see it's open in Photoshop, and let's just paint in here quickly so you can see that this is actually working. So let's paint in here a little bit. So go back to Infinite Goethe, import from Photoshop, and so it loads that image with these things that I've painted in. It doesn't do anything to the image because it's just black. So turn on saturation, and now what I'm doing is I'm going to PSD difference and apply this, and this will now write the changes directly into the Photoshop file, which is pretty cool because this is like the workflow that I imagine for my work. So this is now a difference mask, or actually it's not a mask, it's just a layer in linear light, and it has the opposite color, so it changes the saturation and the color and the color and the lightness. So let's go back to Infinite Goethe. I'm gonna show you something else, and this is PSD masks. And this is something that will take a second. It will create masks for background, skin, hair, and fabric, if there is any fabric. And these masks are far from perfect, but these masks are actually pretty cool if you want to apply this change here only to the background. So you don't want any change in the skin tone, because in the skin tone there's a lot going on and you probably want this only in the background. Then you can just put that layer in here and it will just change the background. So this is a really, really quick process. You can also change only the hair or only the skin or only the fabric. I mean, there is no fabric, so it's, yeah, this is something I wanted to show. So, and the third way to export is obviously the LUT. And if I click on Photoshop LUT, it will copy this to Photoshop, and then you have that LUT file here. And the LUT file does actually the same as this color layer, but LUT files are actually pretty good because they don't increase the file size that much. But on the other hand, you can't change a lot in that LUT file. Actually, you can't change anything but the blend mode and the opacity. This one is a pixel layer, so you can really go in and change stuff if you want to. So if you don't want to change that ellipse, you just paint over with gray, or you create a mask, and then this is going to be really nice. So this is what we've added in the new version. And then what else? Yeah, we have obviously the 3DL cube, 3DL, and the CLUT, PNG, and the LUT files that you can export. And now if I open that same image from my hard drive, it's not the Photoshop file, this is open from a hard drive. And if I create that PSD mask file here, it will create and refine these masks, and it will ask me where it should put that file. And so I will just put it in my downloads so I can access it really easily. And then you can see that it also created these masks as it's actually an empty group with just that mask applied. And let's have a look at these masks. So this is the mask for the background, for the fabric. I'm actually not sure why this is. It looks like fabric for this mask creation machine learning tool. Then we have the hair, and there you can see how messy that mask actually is. And for the face, it's a messy mask. But if I put in like a layer that makes the hair like cyan, put this on in that area, you can see. I mean, it's far from perfect, but this is a huge change for the hairs. And actually, it's also a bad example, I guess. In most cases, this mask is better. Let's just open another image. I want to show you a good mask. So this is what makes these videos kind of good, because you can really see what these plugins are doing. I don't want these super edited videos where you can't see what the tool is doing. So I'm sorry for this. Let's see what's going on here. That's actually a good example. I want to talk about this because it looks really good if I don't adjust the weight and the saturation. But there you can see, okay, the lips are super saturated. But if I move the hue just a little bit, and you can do this, by the way, with the keys Q and W, so you can just switch this, and you can see how these colors are switching from one color to another. And this is just like a few degrees. Actually, it's just 1 degree that makes that switch. And as soon as that switch is happening, colors look awesome. This is really nice. But I want to create that PSD masks, refining the masks. Obviously, I did not open this from Photoshop, so it's here. And in my downloads, open that image, and now I got the masks. Here the hair mask, background mask, and also we have a fabrics mask this time. And with that fabrics mask, I think that's the biggest change. I want to put hue and saturation layer in there, make this a little bit more orange. This is all I want to do, and put this into this mask. All I need to do now is just go with this with a black brush, get it a little bit bigger. So like this, take that green away, and here we go. So this is for quick edits. Really, it's not a bad thing. Also, if I want to remove that color from the background, for example, not brightness, but also this one. Go to background mask and put this into some kind of orange, desaturate. Here we go. So you're not losing the ability to do your own color grading here, but it really helps you to get an idea. And this is actually what Infinite Goethe does. It gives you an idea on what you're looking for. If you're looking for, if you want to apply color schemes based on Goethe's color harmony. And so what you can see is that this background here, this blue in the background, there is no blue in this image, and there shouldn't be blue in that image. And also that green, that takes a lot away from that image actually. And that red shirt, well, there is no complementary color to this, or at least there's no complementary color that has the same weight, or a weight that makes sense in terms of color harmony. So you take away that green here, and you take away that red, because the hairs and the skin is orange. So obviously you go with that analogous color scheme. And this is what Infinite Goethe actually does. So, and one last thing I want to show you is we had some issues with bending here, and this is a really bad example because this is complementary color, but I can show you the new smoothness algorithm, because this smoothes out these transitions quite a bit until there is a point where it actually flips. And this is the reason why I'm showing this. In complementary, it will flip to black and white. So drag it to the right and you got this Sin City effect. It is kind of black and white. And so you got to find that spot where it actually takes away the bending. And this is different for each image and for each setting. So this is quite interesting, and this is actually hard to explain what the bending does. So let's try to find something where it's breaking, like this one is breaking really badly. And so you can smooth this out with this smoothness slider until it breaks again. So it will, at some point, it will break again and it will lose the color scheme. So yeah, this is a quick overview about the changes. First, the biggest change is obviously we have Windows now, and this was quite a fight. But this is good. We have Windows now, and then we have the RYB thingy here online, the RYB wheel, so everyone can visit that page, infinitetools.com RYB. And you can play around with this. And this is very interesting to actually find some interesting color harmonies and play around with the saturation. You can also play around with the brightness and the overall saturation. It's very interesting to see the actual weight and the area that you need to apply that weight. So to make it harmonious, very interesting. And then we have that loop back to Infinite Goethe, where you can just paste this in and you got the same color scheme that you've actually built. So this is the same one as here. Very interesting. And then we have the new smoothness algorithm and the new mask algorithm. Infinite Goethe comes in 5 languages. This is English, obviously, German, obviously, Italian, French, and Spanish. So this is the 5 languages that we've built in. And yeah, if you have any questions, send us a message. The support at infinitetools.com is really fast in answering, and we're trying to answer also questions about the techniques behind it and how to use it. So if you have any questions, just send them to us. We're more than happy to answer all your questions. So take care. Stay harmonized. This was Stefan for the Infinite Tools.